What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Roy, accompanied by the one, the only, the Dominican bad man, Sergio, aka the floor price guy, and we're Combat Sport Guys coming back to you with our last of 2024 UFC post fight reaction and analysis for UFC Tampa. Good card, a lot of surprises. We'll get into that. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, brother. You know what? For the last card of the year, I have to say it was an extremely good card. Like tons of
Yeah.
finishes. At the beginning, you're we thought they were using the new gloves. Was the three decisions, but brother, after that it was KO, KO, KO. What do you think, bro?
Yeah, I think it was a good card. I think after the first four fights, they went to decision, and then it just went down downhill from there. So we'll get into the card. I think we did well in our predictions. This is for the first time. I think you and myself were even in our predictions, or nine out of 14, 9 out of 13. We got four fights incorrect, and the fights that we got incorrect were quite surprising. I think we did. I think either of us didn't predict those people to be losing, but we'll get into all that. The parlays we put on, the bets we put out. I myself only gave you guys one bet this week, and that was KO from Buckley. Oh, Covington's gonna pressure wrestle. He's gonna pressure wrestle. Yeah, all right. We'll talk about that when it gets to the fight. But anyways, kicking off the card here, we had a women's fight. We had Piera Rodriguez up against Josephine Knutson. Knutson was the favorite. She came in at 8-0. We had kind of said that she was the better striker. She was going to utilize her range. She was going to push the pace. And what happened? Piera Rodriguez came out like a bat out of hell. Her cardio looked good. She put it on her, and she was the aggressor. It really frustrated Knutson. She wasn't able to set her game plan in, and she was kind of fighting off her back and fighting off her heels. So Rodriguez won via unanimous decision. We were both incorrect. How did you see this fight? What did you think?
I mean, look, a lot of parlays got messed up this weekend, brother. Um, I had predicted because let me go see how many parlays she messed up because she messed up. So there was a 5 team parlay she messed up. It was Maverick Cape, Woodson,
Huh.
and Buckley. Then I had another 3 leg parlay which she also messed up, and I also had another one. I actually had a 6 team parlay that didn't hit because of her. So there's 3 parlays that
Yeah.
didn't go because like, and I mean, look, a minus 225. Um, I mean, this happens, but it just showed us that what an aggressive and fighter of La Fiera, good brother. She wasn't having it, and it was crazy. She got in her face, and it showed us where Knutson is at, and she's not. Her grappling is not there. She really didn't know how to kind of work around the defend, get up. She was very stale when it came to that. And then when the striking thing happened, she didn't know how to deal with an aggressive fighter. So
Yeah. And I
yeah,
think that's one of the things we talked about, her vulnerability on the ground. But it really shows the sense of urgency from Rodriguez. She was on a 2 fight losing skid. She probably knew that I have to go out there, I have to perform for the last fight of the year. If not, they can cut me, right? They can cut me. So good performance. She beat an undefeated fighter via unanimous decision, and we'll see what happens next for her. She looked good. I mean, her cardio looked good. She was aggressive. She was pushing the pace. She did get cut up a little bit, but she looked good. We'll move on to a men's bout. Davy Grant beating Ramon Tavares. This is where we were on split ends. I think you went for Grant, whereas I went for Tavares. And this fight is one of those fights where the fighter who threw more volume, who had more output, um, looked dominant in the judges' eyes, right? But if you look at the stats, if you look at the fight, Ramon Tavares did throw the more significant strikes. One of the things I don't like watching Tavares in this fight was his movement, his footwork. His he kind of just stays there flat-footed, right, and just takes shots and encounters, take shots and encounters. But he wasn't pushing the pace. He was landing significant shots, but it wasn't enough. Grant utilized his range. He moved around. He threw combinations. He looked good. Grant ended up beating him via unanimous decision. Are you surprised with this? Are you okay with this? The way
yeah,
the judges scored the card. What do you think?
yeah. I'm very. Grant ended up throwing 290 strikes, landing 147.
Mm-hmm.
Tavares, 69 through 156. Um, it was a beautiful performance, right? Like
Yeah.
Grant, just like he brought the mix in mixed martial arts, and I think, Ramon Tavares was complacent with waiting and countering. He wasn't gonna go after it, and that's what lost him the fight. So I hope he gets a chance to look at this fight and reevaluate and say, hey, you know what? I should have mixed up more of my, I should have been more aggressive, especially have more kicks, a little bit more takedown defense. But
Yeah.
I just saw a guy that wanted to counter. That's really
Yeah, exactly. And I think it should be a wake up call to show more sense of urgency, to throw with more volume, and to push the pace and move forward, right? Because that is a game plan if you have the knockout power, right? To wait and counter punch and knock out your opponent, but he didn't get the knockout. He was just, like you said, he was just standing there waiting for the counter, and he was landing the hard shots. He was landing the significant strikes, but it wasn't enough. So in the future, I'd like to see him improve on his movement. I want to see him, improve on his footwork and then throw with more volume. So we'll see. Good fight, good win from Davy Grant. We'll move on to a women's bout. Miranda Maverick defeating Jamie Lynn Horth via unanimous decision. This was a lot of what we predicted, right? Maverick was going to take the fight down to the ground and dominate. What did you think?
Oh, I mean, did she really dominate? It was I mean, first round you got to give it to Maverick. Second round you give it to Horth, and then the third round I think was her best round if I'm not mistaken. But man, I was very frustrated when she just kept going takedown after takedown after takedown, and then she had nothing for Horth on the stand up. And this
Mm-hmm.
is somebody that got mad because she did want to fight, a a, a top ranked fighter, and it's just like what's going to happen when you face somebody that's going to be a little bit more meaner with your striking. I was not impressed by Maverick. I was actually more impressed by Horth. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. She even said after the fight that this was probably her worst performance that she's had. So
she went on social media and she said, "Guys, I'm gonna bring you money. I'm gonna, brother, the
and she
better."
won. She won. So
She,
she
yeah, but
did.
uh,
She did bring people money. She won.
yeah.
Unless they were betting on a knockout or a sub, but
Well,
yeah.
and she was a minus 700, minus
Mhm.
900 for me. That was not a minus 900. That was a minus 155, minus 200. So yeah, but
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah. Let's see.
She
Let
doesn't
me
make the odds. It's the betters that do.
let's see. Maverick. I want to see something real quick. I want to see the update we have. So make sure you follow us on X. We do the immediate fight round by round analysis. A lot of people love that. I love seeing the comments from people on X who follow us and say, "Hey, this was very detailed. This is very well put." And we do garner a lot of following from that. So we're gonna keep doing that in 2025. So make sure you follow us. The description. I mean, the link to our Twitter is in the description below. I always say that backwards.
Oh,
Let's
well.
see. I want to see the. So round one, she came in at a minus 900. Round two, minus 650, and then she ended at she ended at a minus 170. Right.
Crazy. Like
Interesting.
seeing those odds live, it reflects of how much uncertainty there was. But that's the thing about it, right? Like I I like fights where you could just kind of go and
Yeah.
go with the live, go with the dog. But yeah, move on.
Next up, we had Felipe Lima defeating Miles John via unanimous decision. I do like this decision. I think Lima was the overall better fighter. He was able to utilize the grappling. He was able to have the advantages when the fight got to the ground. He mixed in his combinations well, kicks, punches. He had movement in and out. John's, for being a wrestler, even the commentary team said this. He didn't utilize his wrestling. It wasn't part of his game plan, and it's one of those things that we talked about in our pre-fight analysis. If we get the version of Mao Johns where he's just shooting for takedowns, dominating, he could win this fight. And I think you chose him to win this fight because of that and the power, but it wasn't there. He wasn't able to get into the pocket. And I think somewhere he does have an advantage is when he gets in the pocket and utilizes his power right in the clinch and whatnot, but he wasn't able to. Felipe Lima pulled out the victory. I agree with this decision. I like this fight. He looked good. What do you
That
think?
That's a bad man, bro. When I saw Lima, when
He
like
looked crisp.
I forgot how good he was in comparison to
Yeah.
Miles, and it was day and night. Like it was crisp, it was everything. It was not only that, but Lima initiated the takedown in round number 3 and got him down, put him in danger. And it reminded me of the Bronx. Had that very similar style of shooter box, very
Yeah.
clean. When it comes to Miles, man, I think Miles needs to go back to his weight division, needs to cut down. Um, that wrestling, and that's why I was very excited Miles fighting Cody Garbrandt, because I was gonna throw money on Cody. I think Cody could have knocked him out, could have done something with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, Miles did good, but
And that's another thing too, as you mentioned, when he needs to go back to his weight class. This fight was at 146, not at 135. So there could have been a disadvantage there as well for Johns. But yeah, I think Lima looked good. Johns looked massive. He looked really big, right? Didn't he look buff? He had like a lot of muscle mass, but aggressive fighter. Yeah, I like Lima. He looked good in this fight. They're
but
both still young,
he looked
26, 30 years young.
yeah, but Lima's martial arts skill is way
Yeah, of
superior.
course.
I
Yeah.
think like no, wow, the mix up. Like Lima took him down. Miles didn't really want to take him down, or when he did, it was just half-assed. And
Even when Miles was able to scramble, Lima was able to fight off his back and then find another position of advantage, get on top, right? Secure the mount. So you look good, man. I liked it.
I want to see the strikes before you go, just to kind of
Yeah. If you want to pull them up, if you can, or if you want to
no,
share
it's
them.
okay. Just kind of highlight it. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't massive discrepancy, but
Hmm.
you know, yeah. So basically, they Miles actually threw more shots, but he wasn't landing targets. So it's just like what's the point of throwing shots if you're not going to land them? So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Next up, we had Sam Woodson, the favorite,
My boy.
knocking out Fernando Padilla via hooks. This is one of the things that you and myself had predicted, that Sean Woodson has more tools. He has more paths to victory. He is um, extremely lengthy. He's going to be able to utilize his range, set up his jab, and then find that punch. And that's exactly what he did. Uh, Padilla didn't look good, man. He did not look good at all. He looked like he didn't want to be there. Impressive performance from Sean Woodson. He looked good, man. In the short, how long was it? Short. What was it? The first round?
First
Yeah.
round, 2 minutes, 2 seconds remaining.
Yeah, the first 2 seconds he looked great, but yeah. What do you think?
I think that Padilla, like first and foremost, both fighters look slow for that division.
Yeah.
Second of all, Padilla, I was concerned for Sean because he was very successful the first kind of 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because he would get in his face and would like pa 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 pa, and then Sean wouldn't really, and where it became apparent an issue where Sean was just hitting him, but there was no head movement. But he
Uh-huh.
was just taking it, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, and I'm going for Sean, right? But it's hard to see a fighter that way, both lengthy. I don't know, man. I think that lengthiness comes with a price, and you're not as quick.
Yeah. And I think, with 2 seconds left in the round, Sean Woodson got it done. He knocked him out. And then I can't remember if he called out somebody or he wants a ranked opponent. Did he call somebody out?
You just respect. There's just a matter of respect and everything.
Yeah. I want to remember if he called somebody
Like
out.
that boy. I don't remember either, but it was a
Yeah.
good fight.
Yeah, it was a good fight. We'll see what happens next with Sean Woodson. I liked him though. His energy was good.
It's great.
Next up, we had an undefeated fighter in Joao Alvarez, 22-3. He now moves up to 20. Yeah, he was 21-3. Now moves up to 22-3. He defeated Drakkar Close. We had both chosen Alvarez due to his momentum, due to his striking ability, due to his efficiency, his length, his aggressiveness to win this fight. He did beat Drakkar Close via flying knee, got him in the guillotine, noticed that he was out cold, that he just had him in that guillotine position and was throwing strikes until the ref called it. Man, Alvarez, he looks good, man.
He's
What
him.
did you think of this fight?
He's him, right? Like he's him, and his only loss is to the the title challenger, Armin.
Mm-hmm.
And like it just showed you it's miles away. What's going on in Spain with those boys is insane. And like the only thing I'm a little bit upset about is that such a dominating performance. And maybe it's time to like, is he ranked? By the way, I don't think he's ranked.
I don't think he's right. And I said undefeated. I didn't mean undefeated. I meant he has all knockouts and all his wins. Correction there.
No, no.
But I don't think he's ranked. Let's look at the rankings.
I mean, that was a great chance for him to knock him out, and that the way he did it was spectacular. Call out, Jalen Turner. Call out Grant Dawson. Patty Pimblett. Like I think it's a great fight.
I think he was respectful in who he called out. He didn't call out anybody. He just said he wants to be on a Spain card.
Yeah. Well, he knows that the rumors of Taporia coming down, but brother, like the thing is, you're massive at lightweight, but you're not as big in welterweight. So,
Taporia going up.
Yeah, Taboria's going up, so he's going up. So it's just like beware what you wish for, because them boys.
Yeah. One of the things he said was him and his team have debated moving up in weight, but if the fight happens in Spain, if he gets a shot in Spain, he's going to stay at this weight class and fight at this weight class in Spain, and then he's going to choose whether or not he's going to move up to welterweight or lightweight.
Should move up. Oh, yeah. Sorry, he should stay there, but I don't know his cut, though. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's tall, too. He's 6'3", brother. He's 6'3". That's he should be fighting at a bigger weight, in my opinion. A little too tall. Next up, we had Michael Johnson defeating Otman Azaitar via right hook in the second round.
Yes, sir.
Michael Johnson, man, one of the things we said was he is the better fighter when it comes to the striking, the movement, the technique, the in and out, the footwork, and he proved that, man. He got in the pocket, he hit him with that right hook and put him to sleep right on the button. The Tampa boy, the Florida man. What'd you think?
Bro. So going into that fight, first round, two judges gave it to Johnson. One gave it Otman. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, how do you give it a? But if you look at the significant strides, like, it was pretty close. But man, Johnson is just a dog. Like, bro knocked out the Diamond Poirier, right? And it's funny because he was gonna call Chandler out, and because of that, then Chandler was beefing with Dustin. I mean, I don't know who you give this guy, man. I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't know who's next. I mean,
Johnson, I think you give him Jim Miller, man. Make that fight.
Jim Miller.
Yeah, two old guys. Make that fight.
Damn, I said, whoops, it goes there. You fudded me from a Cub Swanson pick. I'll get into that later, but
I got talked you out of it, man.
Talk me out of it. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But yeah, Johnson looked amazing. I think I agree with you. Give him Jim Miller.
Yeah.
UFC
Figth Night. Find the where do you find the judges' scorecards?
So type in
what website is that?
The UFC. UFC has its own website now. So type in UFC Tampa judges scorecards.
Oh, okay. Because I type in the fight and then scorecards. There we go.
I like how organized the UFC is when it comes to this stuff. It's insane.
I mean, they're not that organized. Their website, they don't update the fight sometimes.
No, but when it comes to like the scorecards, at least and the UFC stats.
Let's see, Johnson. Yeah, Christopher Edgehill gave the first round to Otman, huh?
My man was having a lollipop while watching that fight apparently, and was like, "He's good."
All right. Next up, we had the UFC debutant Navajo Sterling defeating Tuku Tokos via unanimous decision. I agree with this. I think Sterling was the better fighter. And one of the things I talked about in the pre-fight analysis was how would the fight look if it gets to the ground? How does his grappling look? And we didn't see a lot of it, but we did see Tokos attempt takedowns and then him defend it pretty well. Yeah. What do you think about Sterling?
I gave Tukos the second round. He had a better took him down 2 times, controlled him. Like, I get it. You landed 10 more strikes than him, but this guy literally took you down. So I don't know. Going to the third round, it looked close and it was scary, man. And Navajo looked good. His striking is very
Yeah.
similar to Izzy and Carlos Ulberg,
Yeah.
those two city kickboxing guys. But you gotta feed him strikers for now. That guy's not ready. Like you imagine what Ankalaev would do to a guy like that.
Yeah.
He would drown him. Like, and I mean, look, he looked good. His striking looked very good. Like those boys like to mix it up, and they do come from. I don't know if he has a glory background, but the guy is Tuco's. If he had a little bit more gas, it would have been. I'll be honest with you, champ. I put $5 on my boy Tuco's. I did a little DJ and play. $5 to make I think it was like $90 at one point. It was insane.
My
But
boy's DJing. My boy's
yeah,
a
it's
DJ.
$5.
Listen, we're degenerates over here.
It's $5. But yeah. Excited to see Sterling again, but I would like for him to focus more on the ground game, more, more control, more clinching, more things like that.
Yeah, of course, and obviously he's only 5 fights in his fighting career. I think his ceiling is there. He can get better, and I agree. They should feed him strikers and kind of slowly build him up. Don't throw him to the fire. Uh, I hope that he chooses or he elects to improve on those things. Right, his takedown defense, his grappling off his back, all that stuff, and we'll see how he progresses from there. But yeah, he has the length. He looks big. You know, who he kind of reminds me of. He kind of reminds me of the Ritter. He has the same body style, like in the
Yeah.
movement of
Yeah.
the Ritter. But yeah, he's 37 though, so time's ticking. So they're probably gonna try to fast track him if they're big on him. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Next up, we had Daniel Marcos, undefeated, 16-0, coming up against Adrian Yanez at 16-5. Winning via split decision. Marcos ups his undefeated record to 17-0, giving Adrian Yanez 17-6. He's down 7. He was 17-5. Now he's 17-6. I said that totally wrong. But this fight was striker versus striker. One of the things we mentioned in our pre-fight analysis was that this is Marcos' biggest test. He's going up against an elite striker. Yanez did have the speed and the striking advantage in the sense that he had better technique and he had the speed, right? He's fast. And one of the things I said in the pre-fight analysis was that this fight's going to come down to two things: the striking defense and the counter, right? The counter strikes. And I think that Daniel Marcos was able to land more counter strikes and significant strikes. That's another thing that I mentioned. And he did. I think he won the fight. I think he looked good. I don't think Adrian Yanez, despite him being fast throwing with volume, throwing with output, he didn't significantly hurt him, right? And I think Marcos, that's one of the things he's did really well. The only thing that I didn't like that it's a critique is his cardio. I didn't like his body language in the third round, walking away, watching the clock go down, having no sense of urgency. Because if Yanez was a bad man, and he's a bad man, no disrespect, but if Yanez wanted to go for the kill, he would have freaking been relentless. And if he had the cardio as well, he would have been relentless in pursuing that. And I think Marcos realized and he respected the striking of Yanez, that he went for those 2 takedowns because he knew that the fight was even. So he went for those 2 takedowns in the fourth round. Didn't do much for them, but it looks good on the judges' scorecard, right? He secured 2 takedowns. He got up and he was kind of, going with the motion. That's my only critique: is work on your cardio, have better body language, because that type of body language, I don't like it. It makes me feel like you're giving up, right? You're just waiting for the time to pass so you can get whatever decision. So yeah, those 2 things.
Well, and to credit Yanez, he worked the body. And I think that's the issue. Was I don't think it was much of a cardio issue, but it was just that he beat the body. He almost had him quit. And first round, you got to give it to Marcos. I was a little bit upset because I was like, wow, this kid is that good.
Yeah.
But then we talk about it week over week. When you throw that level of power, it comes at a conditioning cost. So
Yeah.
when the second round started, he looked slower off the bat. So
course.
Giannis was able to kind of piece him up, did better. And like I said, I'm also not happy with his body language, but I'm just upset at Giannis because Giannis, if he looks back at this fight, he's gonna realize I messed up. I could have, if I would have, I was tired too, but if I would have put it on him, I could have stolen the round. And He could have, champ. It was just that's the only thing. I mean, hope Giannis learns from this, and he just needs to be more of a killer. But he needed to let go for the kill
Yeah.
count because, like,
And
that's also 2 times your paycheck too, right?
yeah. And you also said it's not a cardio thing, but I think that last minute did come down to cardio, right? Had Giannis had not been that tired, he would have pursued
Yeah,
him as he was walking away and kind of, get him in the clinch, hit him with some strikes or do something, right? To kind of like sway the judges, like, okay, this guy's the aggressor. He's going after it. This other guy's tired. Could win him some points,
he could have.
which is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he has a cardio issue, but he was tired and he should have pursued him and been relentless in hitting him as he was walking away.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, because it was bad, man. And like I said, maybe 3, 4 shots, a little bit of more aggressiveness could have stolen the round. And
Yeah. But nothing to take away from Giannis. His boxing is nice. Both their boxing is nice, and we'll see what happens. I know Marcos, I don't think he's ranked yet, but he's itching in there, man.
he wants Aldo.
Yeah, that's the thing. He called out Josie Aldo. What fight do you do? Do you do him and Bautista? You do him and Bautista, the
Oh
two most
no, no,
hated men? You do
him,
the
but
two most hated men, and I'm just kidding.
crazy, my
Yeah,
boy.
you're gonna. We'll see. We'll see. Because there's a lot of people that call out Aldo.
You know what
Aldo's
it is?
that type. What's up?
That boy's number 10 though. So if you fight, like, you're fighting a top 10 fighter.
Yeah,
Aldo's 11 though, so maybe get on Aldo's back.
we'll see. Next up, we had some light heavyweights. We had Dustin Jacoby defeating Vitor Petrino via KO with the right cross in the third round. 3 minutes and 44 seconds. I don't think nobody predicted Dustin to finish Vitor when he was losing both the first round and the second round and going in the third round, a heavy underdog. I thought this was going to go to decision and Petrino was going to win. I don't know what happened. My man got cocky. He let his hands down. He got hit right on the button and got knocked out. Shout out to you. You chose Jacoby, but you can't say prior to that knockout that he was looking good, man. It was
So
looking long, bro.
it was 1-1 going to the into the third round. And the biggest thing is Petrino's fighting IQ. And this is what I was kind of saying. He's not him. Bro's not him. Um he looked dangerous. And Jacoby came in with the perfect game plan. Why would I want to exchange with a guy that hits like a truck when I
Yeah.
could just, tap you, get you fatigued, because it was so interesting to watch because Petrino didn't really adapt to his style. Jacoby could just go in and out anytime he wanted. And then the times that Petrino was successful was because Jacoby made mistakes. But Petrino didn't really show us greatness. And I mean, yeah, he went for the kill and it paid off.
Yeah, it paid off. He got the knockout. Petrino is now on a 2-fight losing
Ooh.
skid. Oh, see what happens, man. We'll see if he's either, people on X are saying he got fraud checked, that his hype train is done, but we'll see, man. He got knocked out. He got choked out by Anthony Smith and then knocked out by Justin Jacoby. So I need to see how his mental is and how he looks in his next fight. But
IQ. It's depending who you give him, right? Because
yeah, depending who you give him. But I'm not gonna rule him out just yet. But it's not looking good, bruv.
well, you know who it reminds me of? Kuteleba, young Kuteleba.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, maybe after these 2 fights, are you going to start fighting like a martial artist, or you're gonna fight like forward and bro? Because he was throwing some hooks. I'm like, bro, who's that hook for?
Yeah,
You're hitting the winds. You're not trying to hit the guy. So,
exactly. Yeah. Next up, we had some flyweights. We had Manao Cape defeating Bruno Silva via KO strikes. We had both chosen Cape to win this fight. He was the better overall fighter. He has the grappling and the striking advantage over Silva, and he looked good, man. He looked fast. He looked, he was moving forward. He was the aggressor. He was pushing the pace. He looked good, man. I don't agree with him requesting a title shot after that. My man forgot that Roy Vall's next. My man forgot that Roy Vall existed. So one thing interesting that he said in his call outs were he said F Kai Kara France, right? He said F. Kai Kara France. He said F. Brandon Moreno. And he said F. Adesanya. And that's because Adesanya and Kai Kara France are friends. But he didn't say F. Tatsuro Taira. He didn't say F. Brandon Royval. And I wonder if that's for a reason. Maybe he doesn't want to go up against those guys. Maybe he he wants to just get a. I don't know. What do you think?
Look, I think what he was trying to do, and it worked because it doesn't give him a title shot, but it does give him a kind of like a number one contender situation. So I think they're going to pit him up with Kai Kara France. You have those two duke it out. The winner of that is next for the title. Now, what do you do with Royval and Moreno? Right? Like that's the thing about it. Those boys up there, they're in a love pyramid, and it's just insane. Yeah, I look at that and I'm just like, because Mano's number 8, so.
Yeah, Mano's number 8, Kai Kara's number 4. There's a lot of matchups you could do. You could do Amir versus Kai Kara. You could run that back. I don't think that's as good, but that's a possibility, right? Do number 2. It would have looked better if Amir won, right? If Amir won against Moreno.
Or maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know when Pantoja wants to fight next. Maybe you just say, you know what, fuck it. Let's run again, Royval versus Moreno. The winner beats Pantoja. And then what you do is you have Kai Kara France fight Mano Cape.
Well, we don't know if that upset Dana, right? Dana's like, my man's asking for a title shot during the fight.
He said that
we're gonna give you Tatsuro Taira. Don't worry, brother. We're gonna give you Tatsuro Taira. See how you do against the grappling.
That's a dangerous fight for Tatsuro, I'll be honest with you, because like Cape looked good. Like, so this is the Cape that we've been waiting for years. This is the risen Cape. This was the Cape that beat the guy that fought for the belt, Kai Asakura.
That's a matchup you could do as well. Have them run it in the UFC. Oh, you could sell it that they faced X amount of times in Japan. You could do the Adesanya and Kai Kara. You could do the Adesanya and Pereira storyline. Like he came to the UFC, but he didn't win. So it's not
maybe in Japan. Maybe have it in Japan because I think this year they should go. They should go to Japan this year.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go to Japan, and there's a lot of matchups they can make. There's a lot of storylines, right? Because at the end of the day, they like to sell fights, right? So there has to be some sort of story or something to promote the fight. So I like that idea.
Pride theme. I think they should do a pride theme, man. It'd be great if they do a pride theme.
It would be. All right. Next up, we have. We were both wrong. We had chosen the hometown boy, Billy Quarantillo, to defeat Cub Swanson at 41 years old, but that wasn't the case. In the 3rd round, Cub Swanson defeated Billy by knocking him out with the right cross. Flatlined him. What did you think of this fight? What did you think about the fight leading up to the knockout? Did you have Cub Swanson winning both rounds?
No.
Or did you have it 1-1?
I had a 1-1. I think Cub took the round, but bro, Cub was getting also pieced up. It was pretty. Yeah, it was like it got to the point where I'm just like, Billy takes it. Billy's head movement wasn't there, and I think the deciding factor of this fight was that Cub was able to slip because Cub has this thing where he darts, he slips and darts. That's why he was able to kind of do things quicker, right? And I think, and I have to see the stats to kind of see this, just to verify it. Billy was just taking too many unanswered shots, and they both landed the same. Okay, so Cub landed 99 strikes. Billy landed 97. Billy's output was just way more insane. So, yeah, I mean, that answers it. But Billy was winning that 3rd round.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, right? It's one of those fights where I thought it was going to go to decision, similar to the Jacoby and Pederino fight. I thought that was going to go to decision, and the knockout surprised me. I didn't expect that, but it is MMA. There's always a puncher's chance. There's always an opportunity for submission or a knockout, right, or something to surprise us. So, Cub Swanson said he's not entirely done yet. Could be fighting again.
I mean, styles makes fights, right? Like, Swanson ended up losing to Philly, and Philly hasn't looked good in his last kind of outings. And prior to that, I mean, he's good. He's been inconsistent, but it's also what do we expect from a fighter that's 40? I just didn't know what cat was going to show up today. That's really what it comes down to.
Exactly. All right, we're getting into our main event here. Joaquin Buckley remains undefeated at welterweight by defeating Kobe Covington via KO TKO doctor's stoppage in the third round. The cut above the, I believe it was the right eye of
Yes,
Kobe Covington. He had a
yes,
cut on the eyelid. The doctor came in and stopped the fight. One of the things I don't like, and I was listening to the post-fight presser, right? And they don't give credit to Joaquin's performance. They more so were speaking on, oh yeah, the doctor stopped the fight, but Covington wanted to continue. Covington's tough. Covington's this and that. But that kind of takes away from Joaquin's performance, right? You look at his performance here. He stuffed, I believe, 3 out of 4 takedown attempts from Covington, right? And then it all came down to that first takedown attempt in the first round. Right there, like seeing that for me was gonna tell me how the fight was gonna go, right? And when Covington shot for that first takedown and Joaquin was able to sprawl and then keep the fight standing, that to me told me, okay, he came in with a solid game plan. It's not gonna be easy. He's too big, he's too fast, he's too powerful for Covington to take him down. And Covington's not the same guy, right? Like we talked about in our pre-fight analysis. Are we gonna get the pressure wrestler? Are we gonna get the guy who's gonna move forward, be aggressive, push the pace? And we didn't see that. I think Joaquin looked good. He was able to utilize the takedown defense, utilize his strike. He's very powerful, man. It's crazy, right? He's very powerful. He looked good, man. At welterweight, he's 6-0 now. He called out Usman. I think he wants that fight. I think that's a good fight, right? You give somebody who's one of the best wrestlers in the division, if not the best wrestler in the division, right? An opportunity to go up against a guy who people criticize for not fighting any elite grappler. So you give him Usman and see how he does.
I and I'll tell you this, Buckley looked amazing. I mean, look, the kid is no joke. He is massive. My only issue with this fight was I would have loved to see, and I mean, look, it's not about loving or whatever the fuck it is because Joaquin Buckley inflicted the damage. That shit wasn't a fence grab. It wasn't an eye poke. He inflicted it. I think with was it with an elbow?
I think it was with an elbow.
And it was just bad. So I was interested because Kobe's style is very grappling oriented, and it was cool
Yeah.
to see when Kobe took him down. Like I would have loved to see what the fourth and fifth round was going to look like, how Buckley's conditioning held up because it did hold up. It was
Yeah.
he wasn't showing signs, but I would have loved to see him in championship rounds, right? And
Exactly.
I think you put Kamaru against him, it's gonna make interesting fights. But like again, we predicted it. The new wave of fighters are clapping the old OGs. The last OG that's holding on to his ranking up there, and this is with the utmost respect, is Usman. Usman is the last. Like you got Edwards, Rakamon, then you got Usman, JDM, Brady, Covington. Covington is now on the way up. You got to then bring up, what do you call it? You got to bring up Buckley. Buckley's going to be at least at 5. Then you got Gary. Then Burns. I don't know, man. It's cool to see this level of diversity happen because the welterweight division was just a little bit older, and now it's getting. We talk about it every single fight. We're getting new up and coming
Well,
prospects.
we talked about how dangerous that division is, right? You got Brian Battle coming up. You
Yep.
got Prates there as well, right? You got Michael Morales, I believe, there as well. It's a stacked division, man.
What's interesting is Michael Venom Page is ranked at a top 15, and he's gonna fight
Shara.
Shara. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing at middleweight, bro? Like, fight your ranked fighter. Like, fight. You know,
Well, I think so too. That fight's in Abu Dhabi, and I think a lot of it is also swayed by the money, right? Fights they want to see and stuff.
and we'll get to that later on because but
Yeah, we'll get to that when it comes, but I think that has something to play.
yeah, but I'm looking at the rankings, and I mean, it's good, bro. Kamaru's camping. I don't know if he has an injury. I think he's waiting.
I I saw a comment on X. People were saying like Kamaru's acting like he's still the champ. He's being picky with with who he fights and whatnot. Like
Yeah, And that's the issue because there's a self entitlement of defending the belts
Yeah.
X amount of times and being like, well, you're not my level. Then like, brother, then just forfeit the rankings because now you're ranked number 3. And the thing is, if you beat a guy, you're probably going to have to fight somebody else as well, unless let's say he beats Buckley. Does that warrant him a shot at the title?
If there's still questions regarding, regarding Buckley's cardio and his ability to go up against a wrestler, I think a potential fight night that we see is Sean Brady versus Buckley, because there was questions. Remember, there was questions when Brady fought Burns about his cardio, right, going into the 5th round, about his chin, right, getting knocked out by Bilal Muhammad. There was a lot of questions, and he proved himself by looking good in that 5-round fight against Gilbert Burns. So I think that's a potential match we could see, a potential fight night we could see is Buckley versus Brady. And I think that's going to tell us if Usman doesn't want the fight with Buckley, I think that's a second option they can make. It's a wrestler up against a.
He's gonna
What's
fight.
up?
He's gonna fight Jack then.
Who?
Usman. Usman.
Yeah, I saw rumors of that. Him versus Jack, JDM. I think Brady versus what's it called? Buckley. That's a good one. I like that idea. But they probably want to keep these guys as much separated as possible until one of them gets the belt, right? And you have all these matchups you can make.
Well, they should have made Gary versus Shavkat. I would have made that fight. I would love to see.
Gary and Shavkat did fight.
No, yeah, but I wouldn't have made that fight. I would have not made that
Oh,
fight.
yeah, I would have waited for one of them to be champ, and then you have that.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
great. You destroyed um, Ano has to go, and I mean
Mhm.
it wasn't a close fight, but it was also Gary. I think Gary's gonna learn off this fight, but I would have loved to see him fight Buckley, and that's definitely not going to be the next fight. Let's be honest with you. When my man's soaring 5 fights in a row, like you gotta, I think he's in a collision course for a number 1 contender spot. So I think it's going to be Jack, Kamaru. I don't think Brady's it. I don't think Brady's going to be the one.
You wait. You just confused me. You say it's going to be Jack and Kamaru. They're going to fight.
No,
And
I
you
think,
don't.
I think, I mean, I don't know. Like, sure. Let's see. For example, you have Bilal fighting Hamza. Sorry, Shavkat.
Shavkat.
As you have that one. Where do you put Buckley? Because Buckley, in order for Buckley to move forward, he needs to fight. I would like to fight him either Usman, Edwards, or JDM. I don't think locking horns with Brady is the fit for. I don't know, man. I think Usman really needs to give those guys a shot, and then Edwards. Maybe that's the fight. Maybe he says, "Fuck it, let me turn around. Let me whoop your ass in London." Wouldn't that be a spectacle?
Yeah, we'll see. I do like the idea of Brady and Buckley because it answers questions from both of them. I think it answers the question: can Brady take a shot? Is his chin really that weak? Bilal Muhammad knocked him out, or can Buckley handle somebody who's a precision grappler, right? Somebody who's a pressure grappler who likes to take the fight down on the ground and control you. I think that's a good fight to make, actually. But yeah, they could also keep them away.
Who do you give up? Well, and that's that. And my thing is the old guard because to me, old guard, Leon Edwards is part of that old guard. Usman is part of the old guard. Bilal is part. Well, Bilal is the champion, but he's part of that old guard, right? Like, and I would love for them to. I don't know, man. I think Edwards should get even JDM. Like, I would want to see one of these new cats fighting these former champions, man. It'd be pretty.
Of course. But we don't know how difficult it is for them to have these discussions, right? Have these proposals to fights because we don't know if these guys are difficult to work with and whatnot, right? Sometimes at the end of the day, it's like I wanna stay in contention. I don't want to go down, right? Why would I threaten? Like, why would I put myself in a position to lose to a contender where I can still fight for the belt? I think that's where the mentality is for a lot of people.
Brother.
Like Edward, I'm interested to see who Edwards fight. You think he's gonna wait for Bilal to defend his title, see if he wins, see if he loses, and then go for it? I don't know.
Leon is fighting in I think February. He's fighting in London, but
Is it official?
yeah, no, he's in the main event for the London card. It's gonna be
Okay.
Fight Night.
Let me see.
So what I was just gonna say, like, one of the things with this sport getting the way it is like, you get a lot of negotiations up here. So there was an Amazon show that had Kamaru Usman's manager negotiating with Dana, and my man came up, told Dana, sorry, it wasn't Dana, it was one of the matchmakers. He said,
Uh-huh.
Usman wants to fight Wonder Boy. What are we doing fighting Wonder Boy, bro? Like, so it's a tune-up fight. Usman wants a tune-up fight before getting these other guys. That's where I feel the hesitancy when it
Uh-huh.
comes to fighting one of these top dogs. He wants something that, that he knows he's gonna win.
We'll see. You got Jeff Neal in there too at 10. Interesting, man. A lot of matchups you can make. A lot of
Burns
matchups
is probably
you can make.
gonna. Oh, I think Neil is gonna get Burns next.
You think so?
Yeah, I think
Think
so.
Neal versus Burns? You don't think Neal versus Machado Gary? I think that they already fought, huh? You think Neal versus Covington? We'll see. We'll see.
It's a nasty fight, brother. But it's been a good
Very
card.
interesting.
Was a great card overall. I think that card was a 9 out of 10. Um, and I gave it a 9 because the first 3 fights were brutal, man. They were brutal
Yeah.
fights to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. And then looking at both our scorecards for the picks, if we combine them realistically, we only went 12 of 13. The only fight we got together wrong was Quarantillo. Oh well, Knudsen. Never mind. We got 2 fights together wrong, but the other fights is because we're opposing ends. But yeah, I think we ended the year strong. If let me look at something. Yeah, so ending the year off, looking at some stats here, we started in September, right? I think the first video we did was we did Brady versus Burns, but we didn't dissect the whole card. We did a select few fights, so I'm not counting that into this total sum. We started off with the UFC Paris Saint-Denis versus Moicano. So we we analyzed, we broke down, and we picked between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 cards, right? Since September. We've done 12 cards, a mixture of fight nights and pay-per-views. Out of 133 fights, you had predicted and picked 93 correctly at a 70% success rate since we started. Whereas myself, for 133, I selected 102 fights correctly for a 77% success rate. So averaging out here, we'll say it's 74, 75% for myself and for you. So we are picking these fights pretty accurately. We are picking them correctly, and we're going to continue to do so. We're going to monitor it for the whole year going in 2025. And we're also going to monitor our bets and our parlays to show you how our ROI and how our success rate and picking these bets is, because it's one thing to go out there and chase. Like I saw on X, people were saying, "Oh yeah, Padilla, he's a good dog. I'm gonna put $10 on it, $20 on it," and it doesn't hit, right? So what is your percentage and ratio looking for success rate and just bets being made, right? Because if we're just making bets on all these freaking underdogs and we're not hitting them, then what do we have to show, right?
Yeah.
Bets and picks are different, right? Like like opening this card, the Knudsen and Rodriguez fight, I would have chosen Knudsen to win, which I did, but I wouldn't have bet the money line. I would have said that this would go over 1.5, right? This would go to the DC, because that's how I feel more comfortable when it comes to women's MMA. Just a little safer in my opinion. But yeah, so we're doing good. We're gonna continue to do well. Make sure you follow us on X. Make sure you tap in on YouTube. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Make sure you show some love. Don't be stingy. We are doing our fight analysis round by round immediately after the fight ends on X. People love that. They're commenting, they're following, and they're engaging. That's one of the things that I enjoy most seeing. Any parting words, man?
Yeah, man. Looking forward to kind of track everything next year. And I mean, look, maybe we could start with a fixed amount and work our way towards it, because that would be pretty cool. Instead of just like, just say for example, starting with $200, $300 and just progressively multiplying it or progressively.
We should have the $100 challenge. We'll both have $100 in the bank. We'll make some bets, some parlays, and we'll see. We'll see at the end of every month if we still have money or if we blew it all. So I like that idea. We'll talk more about that. But thank you guys for a wonderful year. We are gonna be inactive, I guess, on YouTube for the remainder of the holiday season until we are back with Ribas versus Dern 2 breakdown, picks, and analysis. Until then, make sure you tap in with us on X. We are going to be putting out content daily. We won't be like these other bums using AI for engagement.
That's crazy.
I'm just kidding. They're not bums, but kind of lame. It's kind of
That's crazy.
lame to me. It's kind of lame to me. I saw it, bro. I saw an AI video of Tom Aspinall and John Jones making out, bro. Like, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? But anyways, we won't get into that. Make sure you love what you love, do what you do. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.